I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, and let's focus on verses 22 and 23. The Lord your God will drive out these nations before you little by little. You will not be able to destroy them all at once. Otherwise, the wild animals will become too numerous for you. The Lord your God will give them over to you and throw them into a great confusion until they are completely destroyed. How do you eat an elephant? You ever considered that? Have you ever been that hungry? I think I was as a teenager. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Perhaps someone will approach you today with this challenge. Hey, let's eat an elephant. And you'd think, well, I think that's kind of crazy, but what if they said, we're going to eat as much elephant as we can today, and then we'll put the rest of it in the freezer, and we'll keep eating elephant every day, and then about a year from now, it'll all be gone. Well, now that's a reasonable plan, primarily because humans don't have the capacity to hold a whole elephant in our stomachs. Now, the inhabitants of Canaan were Israel's elephant. They were bigger and stronger than Israel. But that wasn't why God delayed Israel's conquering them. God didn't say, hey, you got to go in and kill them all now. He says, hey, little by little, and here's why. God destroyed Egypt in a day, if you remember. And he could destroy any nation any day if he desired. But Israel had to learn that God's promise could be trusted even if gratification were delayed. It was a test of faith, of patiently enduring and letting God unroll his plan as he has designed it. God staggered Israel's conquests for practical reasons. For instance, millions of rotting corpses would attract wild animals. These beasts would develop a heightened taste for humans, I suppose. And then they would become too numerous and voracious for the Israelites to control. Our generation could learn a lot from this chapter. First off, deliverance or eternal salvation does not mean that your spiritual battles are over. In many ways, they've just begun. It's not like you were resisting the flesh much before you were saved by Jesus, after all. So now the former inhabitants of our flesh, those carnal, fleshly desires that once we were enslaved to, well, once delivered from their authority, the Lord gives us the command to drive out those old desires, those old thoughts, and those old actions. The new believer is much like Jesus' friend Lazarus. Now, once Lazarus was raised from the dead, Jesus charged Lazarus' friends to take off his grave clothes. So little by little, layer upon layer, believers must fight alongside other believers and healthy Christian community to rid ourselves of our former masters. And here's the encouragement. If you will fight, and if you'll fight the battle as he commands, the Lord ensures your victory. It shouldn't be enough to have your eternity secured by grace through faith. God wants us to enjoy abundant life on earth. And sometimes abundant life must be seized through personal spiritual battle. God supplies the victory when we employ faithful perseverance to see the battle won. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.